Don't ask me why I'm turning the light on and covering my eyes, because it makes no sense. I guess so you can see me. You know, the normalcy. The normalcy of the life. If you just let it be what it is, it's astounding. It's astounding in its simplicity. Life's ability to be as it is without issues or problems. If you don't create them, it's amazing. I keep wanting to say mundacity, but I know mundacity isn't a word. Even mundane is an incorrect word, because we've negatorily connotated that one, like we have done with a lot of different words. It's so simple if you let it be what it is. It's when you have deemed that it is not correct. You have deemed you aren't correct, that you are in need of repair. That's when the whole thing gets going. All the gears, the wheel, they start grinding away as you inexorably move toward something that you can't ever find. You can never find a reality in which a being is broken and then the being gets fixed. You can come across realities where that appears to happen. Project Ion realities. That's the real projects that everybody's in. We're all in the projects, and the name for it is Project Ion. I don't know if they told you about that one. You can't find what you already are. That's not what we're doing. You're finding what you don't have. You're finding what the illusory self doesn't appear to have. That's why it ends up being silly, and you have to at some point. Okay, you don't have to. There aren't any have tos, but at some point it's good to realize, to fundamentally grasp all these things, which you can't actually do, but No, I guess no is a good one. Know that you can't be fixed. Namely because there isn't a you to be fixed. You can't go anywhere. And you can't ever actually get lost. You can't ever actually get disconnected from the tree or God. Excuse me. You can't ever do any of those things, but you can really, really convincingly feel like you're doing those things. And the reality is infinite. Except when you're in ego clutchy mode, then it seems like it's a finite horror show. And since anything can and will happen, then sure, you can have your finite horror show. You can have really anything. There isn't a limit, and it's completely paradoxical. Because once your mind comes up with one thing that's possible, and then it sits there and tries to sit that right next to infinity, so finite possibility next to infinity, then the mind goes, it tries to break because it can't comprehend. And then you're off to the races again, as far as trying to come up with another theory of everything, another mental theory of everything. And if you notice, none of our theories of everything really explain that well. Not to mention, people don't agree. People have their own story that they have crafted within the matrix, but each individual story doesn't necessarily tangibly connect to every other person's story. So we have these, Shunyamurti calls them bubbles. It's like they're like bubbles within an infinite ocean or sea of consciousness or awareness. Infinite. It goes forever, never started, never finished. There aren't a bunch of ego selves running around or floating around in it, but being that it's infinite, it doesn't have to reside as unmanifest or non-dual awareness or impersonal seeing. It can swoop on into this idea that it's a person, and it can take on all kinds of characteristics, and it can develop this vast, fascinating storyline, and it can convince itself that it is that, because the possibilities are endless. If you could think of it, then it could happen. And being that there is so much fluidity between the shadowy aspects that are each calling themselves I, and how they pop in and out of existence just as much as these quantum bits appear to. The I that you think you are, that who thinks they are, the I that the existence feels that it is today, might have already popped out completely tomorrow. And who's who's there to care about it? You know what I'm saying? Like who's taking track, who's keeping track of that part of it? Since we're all about counting the ability to account, the ability to construe, the ability to accrue identities, accrue up the identities, and then protect them and create a business to protect all of these identities. Are you a victim of identity theft? LifeLock. LifeLock? That sounds like a prison door or something to me. What are you locking up? What are you locking up? And it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to stay locked up. Like Shunyamurti says, he says the only problem, there isn't a problem with the ego bubble that you find yourself within. There isn't a problem with the ego bubble that you as awareness find yourself sewn into. He said the only thing that can be problematic in that sense is that you can't break the bubble from the inside, because the one that you're identified, that awareness has identified itself as, is the bubble itself. So the bubble starts trying to hack away on its insides and disappear, and that's how the bubble gets stronger. So it's just a matter of identifying with a false aspect that isn't actually you, and you just stop telling yourself that you're in prison, essentially, and stop even clutching at a version of yourself. Just let those things be. Let the pieces kind of float around or don't float around, however they need to. That's why I tell people that you gotta surprise yourself, or you gotta like shoot off to the left unexpectedly. I mean, in all of the aspects of yourself, all the aspects of the being, let them kind of spontaneously do something or don't do something. Let the track do something different. Don't do something different. And then you can be shocked or surprised into cocking your head over to the side, and then all of a sudden your nose is working again, or there's like a smell that didn't know was possible. You know, you could be tricked back into you can be tricked back into simplicity, basically, because you've been on this complex, seemingly tens of years, if you believe yourself to be a flesh and blood human with one life and you live once and that's it type of thing, or thousands of years if you believe in multiple reincarnations, millions of years if you believe you're some sort of mini god, billions of years if you believe you've existed forever, timeless if you think you're beyond all of that. Sometimes you can trick yourself out of constructs that you're stuck in. That's why I give things like that meditation example where you turn the thoughts into grains of sand and let them scatter on the beach, and it actually works. Of course, you have to be able to believe that you're a creator. If you say, oh, that's a bunch of hogwash, thoughts aren't even that in the first place, well then of course it's not going to work. But you have some belief. You see, it goes so deep as far as how much hoodwinked we are by society at large and by ourselves, because we construct beliefs every second, you know. And there are what do you call it, little meme beliefs stuck in every single 5 sentences. As you run down, you know, your word logic path, you see these meme inserts just pop up, bing bing bing, like just when I said the word belief, all of a sudden pop up, bing bing bing, I see BE capital LIE a small f, you know, because you know these culturally inserted memes are there. at every, every other corner. They're there. Now, I'm not saying that to see the word lie inside of belief is bad. I'm just saying that if you're not looking all the time, then you get stuck this way, that way, this way, the other way. You lose enough freedom if you start just like going too whole hog on the information boat, and then you can start thinking, well, I've seen that beliefs are lies, and I shouldn't hold any beliefs or any belief systems, And you can confuse yourself if you overload with information. There's too much out there anyway. Yes, in a sense, everything is true, and yes, in a sense, everything is false. And in a sense, there's a reality that's beyond all of these words we're using. And there's somewhere in between where you can pick and choose which words are correct, which aren't. And you can also pick and choose whether you choose to believe whether there's an external authority figure or reality that's imposing rules on us. That's why I say explore, because you don't know what you can and can't do. You don't know who you are. You don't know any of these things until you have to explore, and it requires a little bit of courage. And I gotta explore on over to a restroom. So, thanks for listening to me ramble. Take care, people. Bye.